News at breakfast.
The essential start to your day in Gloucestershire.
BBC Radio Gloucestershire.
So how essential is the superfast broadband in your life, and would it be one of the deciding factors in where you buy a house? People living in a new housing estate in Cooper's Edge say the promise of fibre broadband one of the deciding factors in why they bought their property in the first place. But the superfast connection hasn't happened. So you've got in there, it's not there. You need it for your business. You just need it for your pleasure. The residents feel they've been let down by BT. Heather Simons has been to a community meeting just to see how they're getting on with all of that. Let's see what it says.
Every time they set a deadline, they miss that deadline. So 2 years ago when I moved in, the deadline was July, then it moved to December, then December came, and now it's set for May this year.
Within seconds of meeting James Scott, I know two things about him. First, he lives in a brand new house in Cooper's Edge. And second, he's cross.
Well, obviously, if you move into a new estate, you expect to have the latest everything. We used to live in Cheltenham, so in Pittville, where we had fibre optic broadband. We lived in a flat in like a old-style Regency kind of place. I don't know how long ago that was built, probably hundreds of years. And literally, we had an internet connection that was 10 times faster than what we have now. And we're living in a house that was built 3 years ago.
And James is not only cross for himself, he's cross on behalf of the people of Cooper's Edge, among them Andrew Morgan.
I run a social media business. The speeds are hampering it to such an extent that it's actually slowing down my productivity, so I could potentially get more work done if I wasn't having to wait for videos to be uploaded or photos to be uploaded for such a long duration.
James and Andrew are starting a campaign to try and encourage BT Openreach to bring them fibre broadband, and they've got Stroud MP Neil Carmichael on board.
By the end of next year, we will have 90% coverage of superfast broadband. The other 10%, that's what we've got to fight for, and that's what I am doing.
You say you're fighting for it. What's the next step for you?
Well, I keep raising this in the House of Parliament. I keep talking about to BT, applying the appropriate pressure and also identifying the most urgent places.
Cooper's Edge. OK, well, we did ask BT to come onto the show. They declined. They sent us a statement saying deployment for the cabinet serving Cooper's Edge has been delayed following survey results and cost implications. A decision will now be made within the new financial year. People living in a new housing estate in Cooper's Edge near Gloucester say the promise of a fibre broadband was one of the reasons why they bought their property in the first place. Do you know what? Because mine goes up and down. It just drives us mad. I can understand why you do this, but the superfast connection hasn't happened. Residents feel really let down by BT. Heather Simons went to a community meeting last night at Cooper's Edge just to get a sense of how people are feeling.
The community suite at Cooper's Edge is filled with stalls advertising local groups. There's everything from beekeepers to cricket clubs. But in one corner, there's a table manned by James Scott with a poster reading Cooper's Edge Fibre Upgrade Campaign.
In my house, we're not the most prolific users of the internet. In my house, we use it for streaming television on BT Sport or BBC iPlayer, that kind of thing. But we can barely stream in standard definition, so most of the time you have to press pause and let it buffer for 10 minutes to watch a half-hour show.
It's not the biggest problem out there.
No, obviously, but when you go out to the broader community, there's people that run businesses from home, people that work from home, and they're uploading images and videos to their websites, and it literally takes hours and hours.
One of those people is fellow Cooper's Edge resident Andrew Morgan.
I run a social media business. My wife also runs a childcare business from home, so both of us are suffering.
Monetarily speaking, how much of an impact do you think internet alone has on your business?
If the internet was quicker, I could be more productive, then I could potentially charge it out at a lower rate and make savings for the client, and hopefully win myself more contracts.
On their table is a sheet of paper gradually collecting signatures for a petition, and one of the signatures is that of Stroud MP Neil Carmichael.
Local communities like this need that kind of link to the rest of the world, so to speak. Small businesses above all depend on it, and this area will have hundreds of small businesses. And then, of course, elderly people use it for shopping and so on. So everybody gains by having good broadband links.
In a new community like this one, how surprised are you that they don't have superfast broadband already?
I think that's a really good point, and I think that future developments really need to take this into account, because it seems to me that just like you need road and telecommunications links, you should also have broadband links, and actually in the future we simply should see that broadband is properly laid right at the start.
Yeah, we did ask BT to come onto the show. They declined. They sent us a statement saying deployment of the cabinet serving Cooper's Edge has been delayed following survey results and cost implications. A decision will now be made in the new financial year. Can you imagine you buy a house because you think that's the deal? We'll be speaking to an estate agent later on, Andy Moston from Gloucester. Very interesting. I think his presumption is that broadband could actually turn into a mandatory requirement when you buy a house.